channeling your higher self and earning money from creativity. October 9, 2014. As your consciousness and awareness grow to new heights, you'll find that your ability to remain in the calm, loving center so many of you have started to find is sometimes challenged. When this happens, it's very important to refuse to sway from your balance in favor of the low emotions that can result. And if you find that you're being challenged in immense or difficult ways, you can continuously reaffirm your connection with Spirit and reap the flowing benefits of this connection, one of which is the ability to remain calm, centered, and loving in the face of challenges or adversity. You aren't meant to see life through a narrow or difficult lens. You're meant to enjoy your experience to the fullest, welcoming any challenge or adversity that makes its way to you. Let Spirit guide you instead of emotion. We note that it can be very easy to let your emotions get the best of you in difficult or stressful times, but it's far more rewarding to let Spirit guide you through every obstacle you face, from the easiest to the most difficult. Realizing that your conduits or the higher facets of your consciousness that are descending onto your minds and hearts will help you deal with any difficult or negative circumstances you face, and overall, keeping in mind that Spirit is with you will give you a lot of needed assistance throughout your lives. Many people who are currently unaware of Spirit tend to have a lot of difficulty navigating the stressful experiences they face. But some have found unprecedented strength from the adversity they face because they've learned through it all that they can survive and thrive. Whether or not you're aware of Spirit or willing to believe and empower certain concepts related to the spiritual nature of your existence, you can find the strength that's missing for so many of you and use it to do a wealth of positive and progressive things that'll bring your planet into the light more than anything else. Like we and plenty of others have said in the past, your spiritual work's very important, but it's incomplete without your willingness to walk your talk, to live the teachings you preach day in and day out. You have to be the examples of real and lasting change if you want to do anything significant. And with this said, we'll answer our first question for today. Question number 1. A direct higher self connection. I know I am in communication with my higher self and guides since I couldn't have accomplished, for example, the album, songs and lyrics I have just released, without having learned music or ever having done something like this before, or any of the tasks I have been involved in, without some kind of assistance. But how can I magnify this communication to one more concrete as channeling, hearing or seeing their words? Not merely feeling their assistance as having intuitions I perceive as my own. Your higher self and guides have been clamoring to get your attention, dear reader, and we'll be happy to offer a few ways you can connect with them more directly. You've indeed been receiving a wealth of intuitive hints and guidance from them, especially in regards to your creativity, and to connect with them more directly, the first thing we'll offer for you is meditation. We recommend you enthusiastically meditate on the idea of connecting with them in a deeper and realer way, and after you've practiced a good meditation, you can attempt to open up and communicate with them more directly. There are a few different ways you can do this, and we also recommend you act on your budding passion to directly channel them. You don't have to publish anything you channel to your internet. You can receive personal guidance at first, and, if you feel confident about the development of your connection and your ability, you could perhaps publish the messages at a later date. As we have with many others, however, we'll recommend you attempt to channel personal advice and guidance from your higher self guides and see how pure you can get the connection to be. You might have some trouble at first, because every soul who attempts to channel their guides for the first time will inevitably run into some difficulty. The best thing we can recommend in regards to channeling your guides is, again, to meditate first and then open up to the subtle yet direct impressions you can receive. It always helps to know that you don't receive literal words and phrases from your guides. You pick up on energy that your mind translates into words, phrases, sentences, etc. Our scribe isn't picking up on literal words and sentences as he channels us. He's receiving and interpreting a wealth of energy through his heart space, and his mind's primarily responsible for the translation of our energy into the words you're reading. Keeping this in mind, seek to connect with an energy when you channel your guides. seek not to bring through specific words and phrases, and instead, attempt to pick up on and really feel the energy of your higher self and your guides. Any message you attempt to channel will be muddied and distorted if you overlook this basic yet very important necessity, and only when you've confidently picked up on and brought through the energy of your guides a few different times will you start to get a grip on the ability and really flow with it. Again, you may experience some initial difficulties in regards to making the actual connection or translating your guide's energy into something legible and easy to understand, and like any other ability, the most important aspect of channeling is having faith and confidence in yourself and your ability to be a conduit for your higher self and guides. Believing in yourself. It's very easy to let the mind convince you that you aren't making a real or pure connection or that you're simply channeling yourself, but you'll have to believe in yourself in the face of all odds and all adversity. Channeling might not be easy at first, but with confidence, determined practice, effort and patience, it becomes much easier and more free-flowing. Since you've started to receive the intuitive hints from your higher self and guides that have helped you strengthen and sharpen your creativity, you can be confident that you really are channeling them when you pick up on their energy and interpret it into words and sentences. As far as the actual interpretation of their energy goes, we recommend you make sure your mind and ego are involved as little as possible. As our scribe has learned and helped others learn, the ego will distort any message that's channeled if it's involved to any degree other than acting as a passive interpreter of the energy, and you'll notice when the ego's involved because the message you want to channel will come through very slowly. You'll feel like you're hardly receiving any genuine energy or information from your guides, and you'll find that your mind attempts to paint the communication with its own musings and philosophies. To channel your higher self and guides purely, the mind and the ego will have to be completely transcended, and this is the most difficult aspect of the process for many seekers. The majority of seekers who attempt to channel usually give up after a few tries, deciding that it simply isn't for them, but with the aforementioned determination in the face of any and all adversity, every seeker can develop this ability if they're particularly inspired. We, the higher self and guides of the soul channeling this, and plenty of others, will be with you, dear reader, to help you in your channeling endeavors. If you decide to embrace the connection you can now make, you could very well become a prominent channel who frequently publishes genuine messages from your higher self and guides that uplift various seekers who might even be inspired to try the ability themselves. With this said, we'll answer our second question from the same reader. Question number 2. Earning money from creativity. I gave it all to make this music album, and I gave it away to the world for free, simply opening a space for donations. Since I believe a reality of freedom and abundance is possible, I refuse to put it out there from a scarcity paradigm like having to pay before listening, but it seemed not to work, or at least not yet. People aren't even listening to it, and if they do, mostly all of them don't seem to value it, or get it. Am I deceiving myself, not valuing my own work by giving it away openly for free? Or am I doing the right thing and this kind of exchange will succeed, eventually in the future? From our perspective, there isn't necessarily anything wrong with using your creativity to make a living. It'd be different if you wanted to use any potential money you could make from your creativity for vain, materialistic or indulgent pursuits, but on your planet, everyone needs to survive by collecting the paper that humans have attached so much of their energy and expectation to. In order to understand what we attempt to convey, you'll have to see that in the higher realms, morality and polarity as you see them are different. We recognize, as many on your world have, that there is no right or wrong as you experience and define it. Polarity is an illusion that's kept in place by an unaware humanity, and in the place of polarity and morality, we want you to understand that the consequences you experience for your actions are more important. If you do something you term wrong or even right, stop and examine the consequences of it. They're more important than anything else, and more seekers are realizing this as they transcend their perception of right and wrong and simply live their lives, doing the things that resonate with them and letting others feel however they desire. There's nothing wrong with making money from your creativity, again, as long as you choose not to be indulgent with the money you earn, and even if you do, it'd be your choice and the consequences would naturally be yours to reap. The only potentially negative consequence you could experience by selling your creativity is that others could condemn you for it, but they'd also be lost in their perceptions of right and wrong. They too would eventually realize that consequences are far more important than your human labels and judgments. Plenty of awakened souls on your planet are able to spiritually thrive from the connections they've made, and they're also able to physically thrive by selling their creative works for others on your planet who resonate with such works to support them with. If you're truly genuine in your intent to help humanity, and we know that you are, the money you make from any sales of your creativity would be used in a just and honest manner. It wouldn't be used to provide you a lavish lifestyle that most people on your planet are unable to attain. It'd be used to pay your bills, keep food on the table, and provide your family with gifts on your various holidays. There's nothing wrong with any of this, and we want you to know that your creativity is valuable enough to be purchased. We'd recommend offering free and paid options for your music or anything else you do, and as long as you offer some of your material without charging money, you could gain a dedicated fan base of people who are willing to support you because they recognize the value in your art. All art is valuable, and even those who don't charge money for their creativity are still worthy of the exact amount of riches it could potentially earn them. Most souls who choose not to charge for their work will experience a bounty of inner riches when their earthly experience is over, but those who do will still experience a similar degree of inner riches, again, as long as they are genuine and honest in selling their work. Money's a very interesting thing to us, because some of the unawakened portions of your society see it as a god, whereas the awakened portions almost see it as a stigma, a taboo that shouldn't be earned from creativity. Plenty of souls have purposely kept themselves in poor or difficult situations by refusing to charge openly for their creativity they could make a decent living off of if they let themselves, and while we understand the moral reasons behind this, it doesn't seem like the greatest choice from our perspective. Charging for every bit of creative work one produces doesn't seem like the greatest way to go either, and we'll always encourage seekers who are required to earn a living to offer a wealth of free creative work with the option for those who really enjoy their work and want to support them to purchase specific work that's set aside for the purpose of earning a living. Money has helped good souls thrive. All of the conscious community will see in due time that making money from your creativity isn't necessarily the boogeyman it's been made out to be, and money might be the root of all evil on your planet, but it's also enabled the rise of a lot of good souls, souls with love in their hearts and knowledge in their minds who vastly uplifted humanity. Many of the souls we speak of wouldn't have been able to uplift anyone if they hadn't experienced the necessary financial abundance their creative work earned them, and their abundance, both inner and outer, enabled them to contribute to the raising of consciousness and awareness in inexplicably pure, potent and direct ways. We encourage you, dear reader, to embrace the idea of earning a living from your creativity. It's a very liberating thing, and even if you gain some naysayers along the way, you can recognize that they're simply stuck in their own narrow and predefined views of what's right and wrong, and refuse to let their cries of corruption keep you from doing what you're on the earth to do. Every soul is on the earth to use their creativity and the innate spirituality you can all rediscover and access for positive and progressive purposes, and we'll make our final expressions for this communication with encouragement not to let anything keep any of you from fulfilling your mission, your reason for being on the earth. We wholeheartedly encourage you to do whatever it takes to uplift yourselves, those around you and the conscious community as a whole, even if this means profiting from your creativity in genuine and honest ways, because you're all intended to contribute to the planetary restoration in whatever ways work best for you. Many of you will have trouble doing this if you're hung up on certain moral concepts that render you unwilling to get a leg up in your difficult world, and in due time, no soul will go without the inner or outer abundance that'll enable each of you to start making a wealth of divinely inspired changes. Changes on the horizon for your little planet, and as always, you'll be the ones to create it by enabling and supporting each other. You'll uplift each other into important positions of ability and influence, and the result will be that everyone's awake, aware, and willing to do their part in creating a new world that operates very difficult from your current. You each have a lot of work to do, and some of your work revolves around supporting others and helping them through the difficulty that comes with existing on your planet. Continue to be strong when you could otherwise fall into previous versions of yourselves, and always keep in mind that you have the love and support of a plethora of higher dimensional souls who watch you experience the trials of the earth with as much compassion as we can muster up. Thank you to my higher self and spiritual guides. Channeled through Wes Anak. cultureofawareness.com